Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. How are we doing, Lycan? Good to see you. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, 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 bum. How are we all? Good. What'd you get if you cross a turkey with a ghost? A poultrygeist. Ah! Got him. That was a good one. I will admit, Lycan, that was a good one. You bought the keyboard today? Let's go, Jax. Let's go. Also hi. Also hi. Have you managed to plug it in and get it connected yet? Or is it just you sitting there waiting patiently? Well, yeah, we're back with more Horizon Forbidden West. Back at the grind. It's not really a grind, it's just a bit of fun. So today we're going... Do we start with the Cauldron? Or do we start with a side mission? Or do we go to Riverhim? I think we go Riverhim. I feel like going straight into a Cauldron is like... I need to lubricate first. I need to... I need to get warmed up, you know, before tackling something of that nature. It's not particularly special, and the good ones are too expensive. Yeah, you find that. You'll find the good ones like Razer and all them and Logitech. They're like expensive. Very expensive. But yeah. Hope everyone's doing good. And yeah, let's wait. Oh, right, yeah, because I was... Would help if I was actually on the... Anyway, moving on. Oop. Yep, so that's the closest thing to Riverhim. We're going to go there. That's I wanted a smaller keyboard that's easy to store away when not in use. Yeah, that's fair, that's fair. The keyboard I use for my gaming PC is not a full-sized one. It's like a... Not a 60, it's like an 80% one. It hasn't got a number pad, but... Apart from that, it's a full-sized one. But yeah, I don't need a number pad, really. It's just like... It's handy, but like it's more handy for work. Gaming, I'm just like, it lights up. It's fine. I mean, as long as it lights up, there's multicolors. That's all I care about, really. Let's head to Riverhim. And he goes through. I'm gonna go around because there's things in there. Roots that bind. Something tells me something bad's gonna happen. I wonder how many rocks I can pick by... Well, I got 14 medicinal pouches now. Oh yeah, because that's with the suit, isn't it? The upgraded suit. Okay, right, yes, we got the Kaja Shadow outfit fully done. I think inventory, I think fine now. Like, we got the potent medicine +2, low health defense +2, medicine capacity +1, concentration +2, frost defense is +5%, which in turn makes it 0 because you normally have like -5%. That's nice. Need to get something for that. The Sun Touch Hunter Bow. Got the Frost Blast Sling and the... Which, I mean, those two things I could probably get rid of. Like a Warrior Bow I'll keep for now because it just does shock damage. But if I can get like all elements with the Hunter Bow, that'd be amazing. And yeah, and then just kind of work my way through everything else then. Oh, one just doesn't light up because it's just black. That's fair. I mean, it's probably a tenth the price because it doesn't light up. You'd be shocked how expensive things can be just because it's fucking. Who am I shooting at? Who am I attacking? I don't know anymore. Oh, you? Yeah, you. Whoa! That's the... No.
Push back! Do not let them through! Don't let them surround you!
Dead.
Protect Riverhead!
Protect Riverhead. Get out.
We can't let them defile our home!
You're dead.
Don't let them surround you!
Oh no, you lost your helmet. That sucks.
No more fire.
Damn, that damage though.
We can't let them defile our home!
It's loud and clear. Yep, dead. Nice. Hello. Rejoice.
Save those smiles for your families. The Tanakh understand only strength, and ours was a poor display at best. They will be back. You, the one who actually won this fight for us. A word.
Or 10. You got my SD card as well.
I want everyone
Nice.
fortifying the pass.
Got that extra storage space. Let's go.
Your warriors seem...
Green is early spring. There are children playing with sticks. It's all I can do to keep them alive. It'll only get harder. So far, the rebels have sent mere scouts, but it won't be long till they return for an all-out assault, and if they bring machines with them. We'll need a lot more than eager hearts to win.
You seem to know a lot about Tanakh's tactics.
Back when the Tanakh clans pushed back the Karja raiders, I joined the fight.
The Tanakh taught you how to fight?
More than that, they taught me how to work with metal. I'm probably the only Utaru who can. Never thought I'd be using what I learned then to fight against them
Up
now.
a terabyte? Let's fucking go. Love to see that. Get all those juicy games and mods. Let's go.
We may speak freely here.
Right. Oh, look, there's a stash. I can... Oh, I heal so much quicker now. And like a joke. Crazy.
So, what's the plan?
The plan was making new weapons for my so-called fighters. I
Nice.
send my best climber, Voss, up the drum route to get the materials we need. Wide maws leave metal pods we use for crafting at its summit. But the derangement has made them as dangerous as the climb to reach them. Voss has yet to return. We have defenses to set up, and we are running out of time. If the Savior of Meridian is willing to lend us her strength a little longer, I believe you can get us what we need.
You know who I am.
Red hair, bow, fights better than 10 warriors put together. You're well known. And so is your little disagreement with the chorus.
I understand what this place means to your people. But you're outnumbered and under-equipped. You can leave. Head to safety.
Have you ever seen a flower so small and white? When it falls, it looks like snow in spring. My daughter called them winter song. She carried their seeds to the day she drew her last breath. Now those seeds grow in the grove at the heart of River Hem, planted by my own hands. as do the ones of every brother and sister.
Equipable skill I use, skill that makes all your attacks critical hits. Oh, yeah, that's nice.
I will not abandon them.
You know Zoe?
I knew the warrior who led the bravest of my tribe against the Karja, but the Zoe that came back from the rout spends too much time dwelling on things that just had to be done. I'm not one for regrets.
I'm sorry about your daughter.
The raids took her from me. I found my peace in every Karja that fell beneath my spear. Now
Yeah,
all I have
fair.
left of her is planted in the grove here. No Tanakh will force me out.
Do all Utaru carry seeds with them?
We are given our pouches soon after we're born. When we die, the seeds are buried. A reminder that our deaths bring new life. It is how we remain one with the rhythm of the world.
Crazy. That's cool, though.
What makes the path up to the drum route so dangerous?
It's a cave of sunken passages and gaping caverns that only the very skilled can navigate. It serves as a safe haven for my people, but machines have patrolled its deepest passageways.
I
ever
figured
since
it'd
the
only be a
derangement.
matter of time.
Even so, River Hem and the Grove live off its waters. We are connected to it as much
How you
as
doing,
we
Joe?
are to the seeds growing behind you.
Not much. Not much.
What exactly do you do around here?
I am the metal weaver of River Hem,
Just playing some Horizon.
but all you really need to
Well,
know
buddy.
about me is that I plan to keep my people alive. Thanks to you, we might actually have a chance at that.
The game's going well. It is going really well. It's going really well.
Tell me more about these
Will
metal
admit.
pods.
I like the first.
They
I liked
are
Zero Dawn a lot.
tricky to
So I played it a
collect.
couple
The
times.
wide maws sow them.
And yeah, this is
One
the
must
first
be
time I'm
quick
playing
enough
this
to
one.
gather them before the soil
Hell of an
and water
upgrade.
take them.
Graphical upgrade
But
is
their metal
ridiculously
among
good.
the sturdiest I've ever weaved. Without them, our chances of survival are slim.
I know. I know.
Well, if there's no convincing you to leave, I guess we're making some weapons.
You have my thanks. There's no time to waste. Follow me.
So there might be a slim chance. There might be a slim chance. Like I
This
can't
way.
promise anything.
With those pods and a whole lot of luck, just
I
might
will,
get
I
out of
will.
this alive. Let's hope these sprouts can hold their ground against a squad of machines.
Just yeah, if
I
it
can
was
only cover
like
so much
yeah,
ground, and
if
my
it was
joints
tomorrow,
aren't
then
what
I
they
would
used to be.
yes,
Looks
100%
to me
agree
like they chose to
because
stay here
I
as
would
much
I
as you
definitely
did.
would because it's
It'll be the
Friday.
fight of their lives,
Don't have to worry
that's
about
for sure.
getting up for work or whatever. Just I can. That's fine. A little bit more tricky
Almost there.
tonight though, but we'll see. We'll see.
This is the best
Hopefully
we
I
can
can-
do to hide those who cannot
I'm on
fight.
best behavior.
If we fall, the Tanakh will find them sooner than
Need to
later.
do the first game and
We're here.
then just one run, then we can work something out. Okay. We'll see how it goes. Like I said,
This is it.
I'll keep you
Do you have
posted.
any questions?
Sure. And yeah, that might be a plan actually. Get one game in. And yeah, I think yeah, yeah. If I can, I'll just take it one game at a time.
I'm ready.
Good luck. Come see me at the forge when you're done.
It's just the thing with it. I know it's like trying to balance like work, getting the monies in, and then but then having the time to
Guess I better start finding my way up
socialize
to
and
the
just
top.
kind of hang out with people, especially in different countries. Final balance. Don't know how Samurai does it though. To be fair to him. He's a madman indeed.
I need to find a way up there.
I hope the rest of I was looking yeah, for a little bit after I raided last night. I saw the bot came back on for your clone hero, so hope that went well. And thank you, Lycan, for the contribution to Kingdom Hearts 1 Proud mode. Potential playthrough. If the people want it. Oh god, that's even from my head. Out of the way! I'm glad you had a good time though. But yeah, if you're not following Joe, Rocker Joe, lead vocalist, one of the founding members of The Boys, give him a follow. Cool dude. I was gonna say 99% most of the time, but yeah, that's a bit harsh. Better not.
I don't think I'm getting anywhere from here.
Like, can I finally have you open up one and lurking in my days off? Hell yeah.
Tunnels up here.
I know it's tricky for a lot of people and
Maybe they can lead me someplace.
excited because
Path through
when
these
I'm
caves.
streaming, it's like it's like midday, and there's everyone's like, oh, I'm working, I'm on lunch, and it's just like, like, okay, it's like I get it. It's like it's all good.
I can't go up.
That's why I've been enjoying Jimmy's streams lately, like the last couple of months, because he's been streaming a lot earlier, and I'm like, I could just have it on when I'm working. That now and again. Right, that's been nice. Oh, tunnel. Yeah, dude, that 5-hour difference is intense. Yeah, it's amazing how much of a difference it is. Really is. I was like, it's not that bad. And it's like, yeah, well, it could be worse. It could be like Australia, where it's like I'm going to bed and everyone's waking up, and it's like, oh, like, oh, goddamn.
I'm guessing that's gross. These wounds were made by machines. I should take a seed pouch to Q.
Well, I found the guy who
Seems to
tried
belong to the Ataro.
climbing the mountain and died.
Someone who killed Voss, probably.
Well, time to fuck some machines up. Those Aussies, I know. Oh, nice. Critical hit. How are you not dead yet?
Let's find a way up these caves.
I don't want to refresh stealth area. Oh, right. Okay. Yes, the morning transition for him seems to be good. Been working good. Nice. Yeah. I've been enjoying him. I've been enjoying watching him play Dragon Quest. A lot of fun, actually. I've never played those games myself. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of JRPGs in general, really. I've never been one. Before streaming, I never really played. I mean, I say the first. I mean, the first. Would you class Kingdom Hearts as a JRPG? I don't really know. Maybe. Like action and, but you do level up and have characters and parties and stuff. And you have elements and stuff. So I guess you could. I don't know. The genres that like some games you think that are like RPGs and whatever, then it's like actually no, it's classed as like a roguelite or or something. I'm like, okay, cool. No, there was yeah, I know, 13 games, mental. I mean, there's 16 Final Fantasy games, so like it's crazy. It's because like I've only like It is one. It is one. I hate when people say that action RPGs aren't JRPGs. Ah, okay. Yeah, because JRPGs is basically any role-playing game that's made in Japan, right? Or made in Japan. Am I right in saying that? Or is it like... Was it like Japanese style? That's exactly it. Okay, okay. Japan mostly. Gotcha. Yeah, so yeah, then yeah, Kingdom Hearts would definitely be JRPG. Even though it's a more action-based one, but...
Dry this green shine off carefully.
But yeah, so yeah, I've played, like I say, Kingdom Hearts 2, maybe is probably the main one I've played. But then, yeah, like Final Fantasies and stuff. Hey, Joe! Hey, my prime, brother. Oh, speaking of Final Fantasy, my best friend Zach has just popped up on stream. Prime for a prime. Nice. But yeah, like in terms of Final Fantasy, like, yeah, I've not played. I didn't play any of those, but until streaming. Yeah, I think 7 Remake was my first sort of delve into the world of Final Fantasy. Just pure, so I don't consider them as JRPGs. Ah. Hey, Zach's best boy. Leave him alone. Alright, what am I doing? But yeah, I think, yeah, because I've only done, for Final Fantasy wise, I've only done 7 Remake, Crisis Core, Reunion, Rebirth, OG7. That's 4. OG8, 9, 8 remastered, 9, 10 remastered, 14, and 16. That's 9? 9 or 10 of them? 9 or 10 Final Fantasy games? I want to say.
Is this easy?
But yeah, I want to try and get through some more at some point. I do have a few more installed. Like I've got 15, I've got 12, the Zodiac Age version. I've got 13, and I've got the trilogy. Actually, I've got the trilogy of 13. I could technically play all 3 of the games. 13. And I've got the Pixel remasters as well. I've got 1 to 6. I've got them actually. I've got them on Steam. Probably play those at some point. Yeah, there's just so many games. Like, there's so many games I want to try. So many games and not enough time. As the saying goes. Ooh. Take that. Thank you very much. Oh, a Cupchew? How do you fucking pronounce those things?
Almost there.
Yeah, like I want, like, you know, lately I've been really wanting to get into. I've been wanting to start playing Yakuza.
Made it.
I think once we're done with this, we'll probably switch to the Xbox, and we'll probably play Yakuza Kiwami first one, and then probably. And then I need to pick up the Assassin's Creed games again because I'm currently on Origins and I haven't started that yet. It's been a minute since we played Syndicate, which was the last one we did. So I've gone from 1, 2, Brotherhood, Revelations, 3, Black Flag, Unity, Syndicate, and there's another one, Rogue as well. There's a few I've I say I've got. I think now at this point I've just got like the big RPG ones to do. So like Origins, Valhalla, Odyssey. They're kind of the main, and then obviously when the new one comes out, I think it's and Mirage. Well, I think that's more of a old school style game. I think, from what Mirage game. I did see like one bit where like you can be like on a rooftop and then you can literally like teleport to behind someone, and I was like, huh, that's realistic assassinations. Like, huh, like well. how have the turns have tabled? Oh, that's a one shot. Let's go. Oh shit. Burrower. Wide moors. Lovely. Oh, he pierced. Oh, he pierced. We got weak to water, weak to fire. I don't have any. I think I got water traps, but that's about it. Oh, he just knocked the tree down. Not environmentally friendly at all. You're dead. I wish you could, like, do you know, like, the perk that Aloy got in Zero Dawn, where you can roll? Like, if you hold the button, you can roll much further. I wish I had that perk still. That would have been nice. You just keep screaming and shouting, buddy. I'm gonna heal real quick. I don't really want to die. I'ma eat. You a bit of advice? What? Me giving advice to people? I know, crazy, right? Imagine. Excuse me. Aloy, can you please? Thank you. I was like, can you hit the target, please? You want a bit of advice on what exactly? This game? Game. I'm okay at the moment, I think. Okay. Not running into too much trouble at the moment. He says, whilst... Pro tip, don't aggravate enemies. Yeah. Walker got me sighted today. I mean, I have noticed, like, aggroing machines is, like, a bit of a no-no. Okay, we're fine. We're fine. We're fine. You can't play this game without aggroing enemies. I mean, true. Isn't that the same button as roll? Dodge roll? Or is that running and pressing square, which is the crouch button? That isn't it? Yeah. I think. Yeah, okay, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Ignore me, I'm just... I'm almost thinking it's nearly dead, isn't it? Dropping stuff. Why is it dropping stuff? I don't like it. I don't like it. I'm gonna crouch.
This isn't gonna do much.
Bonk. I mean, to be fair, I'm doing very good at getting rid of the components. Oh, there you go. Nice machine gun. Right, gotta run around now and fucking pick up everything. Lovely stuff. Oh, Burrow a sound show? Nice. Doo-doo-doo. Okay, so that Widemore is... Right, gather Widemore metal pods. How does one do that exactly?
I'll shoot it as I go.
Yeah, you do that.
This one should do.
Ah, I gotta kill another one. Why must she be this way? I mean, it couldn't be that easy, right? It couldn't be one Widemore I have to kill, innit? Be that easy, could it? Is there another one even around? I don't even know. Probably, I suppose. Oh, yep, there's one down there. Any other fuckers around? Oh, there's Burrower. There's one Burrower. There are no Burrowers in this vicinity. Something out of Tannoy voice. There are no burrowers in the vicinity. That's unfortunate. Well, this is unfortunate. Run away! Oh, I can slide uphill. Let's go. You didn't see anything. No. I wasn't there.
Quiet.
Run along now. Run along. Go back to your... No. It smells horrible here. You gonna show me my... Alright, you know what? Fuck you. Yeah. Not having it. No. Yeah, I'm now swimming. Cool. Yeah, cool. Sorry, bro.
I guess that's it. I should check the wide mouse for pods.
That's done at least. Let's check down here, because I didn't really loot down here at all. Is there a campfire? That would be nice. Been hard, but, you know. One can dream. I'm just gonna... Wait, can I just rappel? Oh, I can just rappel back down, right? Right? Yeah, probably. Oh, is this the way down? What a... Oh, shit. Well, that was nearly... That was a close death. Jesus. Not gonna lie, I nearly shat my pants.
I got what you needed.
Not a moment too soon. Did you find Voss?
I brought his seed pouch back.
I pray it'll be the last I bury. But now I need to get the weapons ready.
Let's hope it'll be enough.
It'll have to be.
A few hours later. Alright. Well, I guess this is it.
Find a weak spot.
Oh, get out. Get out. Get out. Oh. Oh, fuck. Acid rounds? Ow. Ow. Why am I on fire? Fucking... dude! Will you please calm the fuck down? I want to speak to your manager, please. Bitch. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm on 7 health, but I'm fine. Oh, that was bad. That was really bad. Nobody talk about that. It's fine. It's fine. I definitely shat my pants then. Here's your tail. Here's... Planted the seeds of the fallen. Fuck, is anything left? Good. Oh, if it's somebody in the forest, they can fucking wait. I'm sorry, but like, I need to loot. I need to loot here. Hold the phone. Anything else I've missed? That rebel soldier? Yep. Okay, it's on fire now. He's dead. Come on. Oh, there's one in the tree. You little bastard. Dead.
Guess these young ones knew how to aim after all. Even so, we owe you this victory, Huntress.
It wasn't my strategy or craft that got us here, Q. I just brought in some parts.
Even so, I want you to have this. It did good by my people. It'll do good by you.
Oh, that's a look. That's a cool fucking
Be
bow.
safe out there.
I bet it's the bow I just bought. Oh, I would actually. Q's. Oh, it's a sharp shot bow. Ooh. Bow is quick off the draw and is best used at shorter range to tear off machine parts. Can be upgraded to land critical hits more often. Ooh, okay. I'll keep it though. I might not use it, but I'll keep it. Actually, you know what? I think I will actually use it instead of the prototype spike. Right? Oh no, the boss blast thing. Yeah. Believe that bow is good. Just for you, Jax. Just. Completed side quest, The Roots That Bind. I can talk to people? Yeah. Hey, buddy.
The first bloom of the winter song. I can feel the heaviness of my years fade away just by looking at them.
They're beautiful.
It was good to see the young ones fight for this place. I'll be damned if those sprouts didn't hold their own, strong as the roots of a proud tree. Just don't tell them I said that. Now, I better make sure our newly victorious warriors don't injure themselves while celebrating.
Sharp shot bows are powerful, highly accurate long-range weapons. They have reduced accuracy when fired by moving, and cannot be aimed while sliding. Remember, shoot element arrows to detonate cancers of the same elemental type. Thank you for reminding me. Oh, it's her! Nell!
Forward to our ship. Aloy. I can't believe it. I came back ready for a fight and instead found that you had already ended one.
I wasn't alone. Your people are lucky to have Q leading them.
Stubborn as weeds, that one. I'm just glad we're all back in Riverham. For good, this time. May the land always bloom in your steps, Aloy.
Hell yeah. Oh, workbench. Pouch upgrade? One again, one again. Oh, precision arrow. Oh, that's for sharp shot bows. If you don't believe them, then you're gonna have to have the Wyatt 6 to contend with. Exactly. Yeesh. What's it? I saw Joe Gacy, like, because they did their first proper tag match, didn't they? I saw highlights of it. They were really good. They looked amazing. Like, was it Joe Gacy? Like, was he like getting power bombed onto the Creed brothers? That was like fucking nuts. Oh, nice! I can fully upgrade it. Let's go. Yeah, the only weapon I don't have fully upgraded yet is the sun-touched center bow. Upgrade, so I unlock heavy tear ammo weapon, tear ammo. And yeah, boosts that. God, it boosts it quite a fucking bit too. Okay. I need a bellow back circulator. don't know when I'm going to get one of those, but hey. Oh well, we'll upgrade this.
Hunter to hunter, let's trade.
Wait, I sell some stuff. Cool. Right, let's do a cauldron then, shall we? Think we're ready for one? I think we're ready for one. I mean, we are the right level for it now, so we can. It says it's level 18, so we're at the right sort of frame doing said thing. So we'll see. Okay. Oh, skill points is what I do. I was like, what am I gonna? I was like, I saw something and I was like, I'm gonna do something here. It was skill points, and I just completely. Warrior. What we got for warrior here? Resonator build up. Energize your spear faster. 50% energy build up. Ooh. I don't really use melee weapons that much though. Closing an enemy with a quick strike can also be used to connect or break out of combos. Hold and then release R1. Ooh. Okay. Okay. Oh, is this the perk you were talking about, Jax? Critical boost. Or is it like a different one? Oh, yeah. What? Stamina regen. Oh, craft ammunition at the workbench using less resources than in the wild. That's the one. Okay. Ooh, I might unlock that, you know. Craft ammunition at the workbench using less resources than in the wild. Ooh. That actually might be a plan. That could save me materials in the long run. Overshield. That could be quite handy, actually. Overshield. I don't know which one to get. I like the look of the workbench skill, workbench expert, because I use less resources. But then the overshield looks really nice. I probably need two or three skill points to unlock. Melee attacks deal more damage when you are dangerously wounded. Range attacks deal more. Yeah, that's already got level 1, so overshield is probably something I would use more than the potion, personally. It's kind of like the weave armor you had in the first game. Ah, fuck it, we'll go workbench. So I'm always crafting stuff. So we'll pump the next 4. We'll do the next set of Warrior, I've got Resonator build up. Last. Critical strike. Warrior's vigor. Ooh. there's definitely stuff here to look. Critical hit chance. Oh, I can upgrade the critical hit chance to like 15%. That'd be nice. Okay, let's head then to this cauldron. Not ready for this, but hey, let's go. That's all we can do.
Easy there.
I know, I know. Fire gleam. Nice. Oh, wait. Here somewhere? Have to be like underwater? Am I being stupid? Oh, found it. Found it. Never mind. Found it. It said it was fire gleam here. I can ignite. So I was just wondering where it was. And then you can do it underwater, which is pretty cool. Oh, ads already? Damn. It's only been an hour since... Fuck. Right, I'll let the ads run just as I'm going to be riding toward Cauldron. Once we get to the Cauldron, I'll pause the game. Nobody misses anything. We have a nap now, can we? Do, 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 do.
Something's up.
I wouldn't recommend doing a lot of the stuff you can do underwater until you can breathe underwater. Yeah, that's fair. But it was quite shallow, so I managed to get away with it. Like that one, like that black box we found, like in deep underwater, then yeah, that makes sense. 'Cause no way I'm gonna get that without fucking drowning.
Finally, did you? You could show me how to override you.
Get on. Freedom. Got him.
The cauldron. Must be the one that Osram Delver mentioned. If I can reach its core, I should get enough data to override some new machines.
Indeed. Is there a campfire over here? Welcome back from this, everybody. Sorry, I just started firing on some machine. But we're at the cauldron, so don't worry, you didn't miss any of the cauldron stuff yet. So hopefully we can get through here within the hour. It'll be ad-free. That'd be nice. One can only dream. That wasn't very nice. I don't have any water weapons. That's all the enemies taken care of. Got a straight shot now to this cave, or this cauldron even. I will say the good thing about this is now, like in the first game, like once you hit the max amount, or like it would just constantly take up your inventory space. You know, you'd be like, oh, I can't pick up any more wood because my inventory's full. But now it just goes to your stash. Like, I got like 800 odd wood in stash. Jimmy! You don't raid people? What's going on here? Chosen! Thank you for the resub as well. That's where Joe went. I was Dragon Quest, my man. Sonic
traded my stream with 8 viewers.
Yeah.
Listen to my story. This may be our last chance.
Chosen_outlaw just subscribed to boys.
The boys. Chosen, thank you to give this up to Jimmy. Oh my god, way too kind. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome in, everybody. Go, Jim. Chosen, well, sub the boys. Thank you for the follow. It was awesome. We're starting getting our crew back together. So to continue. Yeah. Hell yeah. I was watching earlier. I've been honestly, because it's like during my work times, it's been nice watching, having it in the background. How's Horizon treating me? It's going well. It's going really, really well. We just done a side quest. We just defended a village from nasty people. So now we're going into a cauldron This is our first cauldron in Forbidden West that I'm attempting, so I'm at the right level for it. So fingers crossed, it goes through safely ish. I'll try not to die. I can't promise anything, but I'll try not to die. Let me give you a shout out as well, Chosen. Also, Jimmy, do you mind? Osman, I can be back. Oh, these events. I remember these. Yeah. The Cauldron, the first game were rough. There was a couple I remember they were rough. Are you okay with clip shoutouts, or would you not rather have clip shoutouts? The same goes with Chosen and Joe as well. I should document everything, but imagine documenting things and remembering. Go for it. All right, cool. You're all good with it? Cool. I know it depends on certain, some people don't want to see clips. Because like if it's like I normally have it from like within the last year, so it's not too bad, but then yeah. I'm okay with like if a clip of like 3 years ago came up, I'm like, whatever. Oh, look at me, I'm playing Gex. Wow. Cringy. And then it's like, but obviously people are, I totally respect and understand people not wanting to see their setups from a year ago or 2 years ago or whatever, or even 6 months ago, because could be different, or it might bring back not so fond memories. So anyway, too late, sorry. Oh, it's not cropped out right. Shit, hold on. Oh, it's Dragon Quest, let's go. I am a pro streamer. Jimmy's cooming over making a shield. Okay. This is interesting. Perfection. That will never die. Oh, the old F4 clip. Nice. But yeah, welcome in everybody. Welcome in to the stream. I am Welsh Bandicoot. I'm a variety streamer of some sorts. I'm also a member of the Boys, hence the Boys Wolfpack t-shirt I'm currently wearing. And yeah, I play games. I just play games, I play games, crack dad jokes. We just chill. It's just a vibe. We don't do anything crazy. Apart from causing, sometimes I just have some moments where I'm just like, I'm just going to do something really stupid. And it like shockingly bites back in my ass. but yeah, we played very different games. Crash Bandicoot has my heart, hence the link to the name Welsh Bandicoot. It was previously Welsh Banter, but I changed it because I think I just needed to freshen up a little bit. So, but yeah, I've love and adore Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, Sonic, Mario, Luigi, all of those sort of games. I've done some speedruns of Crash Bandicoot, the original trilogy on PS1. I've done speedruns, and I'm on speedrun.com. I'm in the top 200, apparently. I did a thing. I think and all my personal bests are under an hour. So technically, I can beat every single Crash game under an hour. So that's crazy. And that's like, whoa. Like, okay. Didn't know if that was that good, but okay. New atoms frequently lose electrons when they fail to keep an eye on them. Yeah. And I've also done a speedrun of the second Gex game as well. As a laugh, because I love the Gex games. Also, very cool shit. Thank you, Chosen. Thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, when I saw it on Joe's shopping page, shopping page, shop, I guess, I was like, I probably should buy one. I'd refresh Twitch chat wasn't updating. Oh no. Oh, sorry to hear that, Jax. See, this is what happens when you get like more than 3 people in chat. It just like my Twitch just goes crazy. Like, it's like what? There's more than 3 people talking. Panic! Panic! Everybody, calm down. You got new merch coming tomorrow? Live tomorrow? Let's go. What's your merch link? You can try putting it in the chat if you want. I think VIPs you might be okay with links. Don't quote me on that though. Yep, finally moved to 4th wall. Oh, fourth wall. Isn't there a thing with stream elements where you can like create your own website with 4th wall? Because I went to do, I was like, should I like make some merch or something, or like try and like set up a little site maybe? And it was like 4th wall, and I was like, oh, okay. I was like, oh, okay, 4th wall, and I was like, I started playing around with it, and I was like, I'll do this another time. I was like, you know, I mean, I've got enough of a following for a start. Nah, it's all good, man. The link is scheduled to go live during wrestling tomorrow. Nice, that's awesome. Good old MFW shirts. That's going great, by the way. Huge congrats on that, by the way. Lovely stuff. But yeah, if you need a raid and run, Jim, like I say, if you've been streaming for a little while, if you need to go and take care of yourself, then please do. Yeah, I appreciate the raid. I know,
Such a good idea. Here we go again.
What is this, Uncharted? Aloy was like, that was fun. Ugh. I brought back the gold/wolf pack shirts to celebrate. Nice. Yeah, no worries, no worries. Good. You're definitely going to be challenged, Welsh. When am I not? When am I not? Right? No. It's not the game, it's myself. Like, it's my own stupidity, right?
Use it all up.
I will crouch. True. I mean, thank you, man. I got some errands before overtime, and you're welcome. I appreciate that, Jimmy. Yeah, so yeah, if you got errands to do and stuff, then don't let me stop you. But yeah, go follow Jimmy, the founding member now of the boys, and also streams more for UK viewers. More, I would say around like 3 p.m., 4 p.m. daytime. And it's been going through Dragon Quest 11, so been having a lot of fun watching that during my work hours, having it in the background. And yeah, also streams on YouTube. So if you want to check out his YouTube channel as well. Oh, don't fold up. Fuck. Oh, no, please, please. Tomatoes. Fuck.
Failure!
Yes. Ben, why'd you have to say the truth at the worst possible time? Also, hi. I can save this. I can fix this. I can fix this. Please. Aloy. You take that failure back, Ben.
You're breathtaking.
You're breathtaking. Oh, congrats on the cider catch, Ben. How you doing also? Hope you're doing well, buddy. Shout out as well. You definitely did something wrong. Yeah, mistakes were well and truly made. Oh, you should have done this one. I think I need to go back through my Tangier stuff and tablets. Oh God, imagine. I would have crapped myself. That would have been even worse. It's like, where's the T-Rexes? Where's the T-Rexes? I will say this, as someone who's played Tomb Raider, fucking Thunderjaws come out. Oh my god, dude! I would just quit the game. End stream, just like, nope, I'm going to bed. Just like, nah, I'm out. Yeah, just like Alt Tab. Off we go. Or if you had the sound alert, fuck this shit, I'm out. Just. Oh no! No! God damn it! Do you know what? That's actually the first user account that's popped up saying that for me. And I don't know. I want to say like that's like the first time ever. Maybe twice that's happened. Which I'm not to blow my own trumpet, but that's like very fortunate. Because I see them everywhere. They're like bing, 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 and like, oh, I'm like, fucking hell, okay, goddamn. Yeah, I think it's the same. It's the same with the follow bot raids and stuff. I've only ever had that once. I've had that happen to me once. I think it was like 10. It was like 10 or 20 accounts that just went. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I was like, that happened. That's why I have Seribot, because Seribot is just good, you know. Seribot puts the work in. I mean, didn't it get banned though, like a couple months ago because it was like everywhere. That's been going on a lot of streams I've watched like recently. Yeah.
More machines.
Definitely more frank. More
Catch a right on those.
more frequent English, please. Words. Right. Yeah, I remembered. I remember I had a glider.
Have to get past this shield.
Oh my god. Breath of the Wild?
It's being moved to the back of this corridor. That has to be the core.
Ooh, that looks fun. In the biggest sense of sarcasm possible.
I should be able to climb these vents if I time it right.
You gotta wait for them to flatten themselves. No, not flatten. Whee! Oh, oh, that's not good. Fine, everything's fine. Everything's fine. It's one of these ones where they stick out and then they back in again. Thanks. Aloy. Yeah, I've been very fortunate with that kind of stuff. Very, very fortunate. I mean, it kind of helps when there's like, when you aren't really that, like when you're not pulling that. I suppose it's more frequent the more viewers you have. Like, the more of a brand you have, I guess, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I've been very fortunate. Very, very fortunate.
Maybe I can use that arm to get across.
How you keeping, Ben? Are you feeling better? I know you went. Now, who put that there? Excuse me, Mr. Scrounger. We have an Easter egg to look at. Gosh, doesn't that look familiar? And I literally said Zelda Breath of the Wild earlier as well. That's crazy. Just a casual Triforce, you know? I need to clip it and send it to Sav. Now. The world has nothing on this game. I mean, true. Oh, I can't really say true because I haven't really played Breath of the Wild, so I've played more of this than Breath of the Wild. Actually, have I? Yeah, at this point, probably yes.
Machines past that shield. I have to be careful.
I have played a little bit of Breath of the Wild, but not much. I got past like the tutorial island bit. I think I met Impa, the village, and then I met is it Pura? No. Ara, maybe. But you learn more about the Sheikah Slate, and it was like, oh, you need to go and find these divine beasts now, and I'm like, okay, cool, and it was like, I'm going to bed. And I didn't pick the game up since. No. Maybe we'll play that one day, but like just the sheer thought of like the openness of that game is like, it fucking scares me. Well, oh. Okay. Cool. That was electricity, wasn't it? You were killed by elemental damage. Oh, I don't have. Oh, okay. The only resistance I have is water. Okay, that's fair. I mean, that was on me. I just literally, I thought I could get away with it, but I could put a skill into Trapper. Craft tools, traps, and potions faster. Or I can place more traps down. Ooh, actually, you know what? We'll put that. I am glad that Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild has objective markers and waypoints. That helps greatly with navigation. And you can also like mark like certain areas from your camera and like your Sheikah Slate. That is handy. Yeah, I don't know. This when I played it, I was like, oh my! I was like, I'm like level 2. Like Link's got like shitty armor on, and I'm now like, oh, what the fuck do I do now? Like I was just overwhelmed with the game just going, yeah, you can just play the game now, and I'm like, what the fuck? What do you even mean, bro? Well, I took off his container at least. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's nearly a one-shot every time. Oh.
Okay, better.
Get up, Aloy. Get up, Aloy. Oh god, yeah, the slide is so much better, actually. I'm not a fan of when games go, now just go do. And it's like, do what? Just do. But do what? What do I do? I mean, the game kind of does tell you, like, okay, you can go get the Divine Beasts or fight Ganon. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like, there is, like, a bit main objective, but, like... But, yeah, it's kind of... It doesn't really... Yeah. I don't know, maybe I need to give it a shot. I don't know. It's just a very daunting game in my eyes. I'm just like, oof. Well, I'm getting ready to play a new game. Faye got me the other day. Good luck with your robot murder, Welshie. I might demulate it so you can do Elden Ring tomorrow, so Saturday, if that's alright. Yes. I'm down for that. Down for that. Because then I could... Because I've been meaning to do a little, like, celebration weekend sort of thing for hitting 600 followers anyway, so...
Closer to the core. But how do I reach them?
That would help tremendously. Yeah, perfect. Awesome. I will await your direct message. Yeah, go have fun with the new game. Do you know what it is? Know what new game it is? Sounds good. Called Angerfoot. Weren't you telling me about that before? Oh, did I see it somewhere? Or somebody was talking about it? Volvo Digital game? Yeah, wasn't that the one where you said, like, and I'm sure you mentioned it, because you was like, oh, it's like a looter, but with, you called it a booter or something? I was very confused. First person booter shooter. That's it. Yeah. Yeah, I remember I remember you telling me about it. Yeah. Oh, nice. Well, I hope you have fun with it. Is Faye gonna play with you, or is it gonna be? Is it just solo? Should be fun. Yeah, it sounds fun. It's a solo game. Ah, okay. Take turns. Like I said, there are objective markers and waypoints for main quest stuff. It's just everything that is side stuff is not shown on the map. Yes, but then, yeah, because even if when you get the towers in Breath of the Wild, it's like it just reveals the map. It doesn't actually reveal any little thing, any little like places of interest. Wait, I'm back here again. I'm meant to be back here? Oh wait, I'm gonna go this way, aren't I? Hold on. Wait, am I? Oh, another little Triforce. Oh, that's a better one, because that's an actual. Yeah. Where's the hero of time when you need him? Well, 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 here we are. Hey, Andromeda. Welcome in. Good to see you. How you keeping?
Could try getting to that arm below.
Ooh. I'm comfortable with video game violence. No, you can't because you just didn't bother. Okay. But how are you? Hope you're well. Video game violence is the only kind of violence. Please. Please. Aloy, climb. Why are you falling? That was not the time. Please. Please. Don't. Oh!
That was close.
I'm fine with the events that are currently unfolding.
I should be able to hitch a ride on this little carriage.
Boing. Have you played Forbidden West before? Or Horizon before? I don't think no. So I'm gonna hang on to this for a little bit.
I made it this far. Just have to hold on a little longer.
Oh no, I don't game. I don't get on the sticks.
I'm gonna have to get off this thing soon.
You're more of an enjoyer than a player. That's fair. That's totally valid. Not for everybody. Like, do you do other like hobbies or anything like that? I watch all of you professionals do the work. Oh, I am not a professional, please. Oh, no. There are levels to this. And I'm at the bottom. Doing, 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 doing. I think I need to wait for it to turn. There we go. I used to partake in this hobby called life, but I recently realized I suck at life, so I gave up on it. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do now, but some short term will pop up. Okay, okay. Okay.
I better
I see. Okay.
Made it.
Yeah, I'm sure something will pop up for you. Life has its mysterious ways, you know?
Go.
I want this. You know. I need to jump on that then, don't I? Professional? I wouldn't go that far. I'm sure everyone else just gaming skill. Yeah, alright. Oh, there we go. Okay. I was being silly. Yeah, it's hard to find a balance sometimes.
Get those machine overrides.
We'll see. I'm spending a lot less time on Twitch to partake in this life thing. Yeah. Honestly, it is. It's. It has its moments, you know. Don't do what I do and go outside and then fracture your arm. Just don't do that. If you don't do that, you're probably fine.
Never seen a machine stored like that. At least it's deactivated for now.
Well, we've gotten this far.
There's the core. Now I just need to access it.
Shit's about to get ugly, innit? Oh well, fuck it. I'll just do. Oh, it's time. Yep, it's time, alright. Kill the Widemore.
I'm not getting those overrides without a fight.
Oh, this music though?
The machine's got backup.
Oh goody. I love backup. Because what's worse than one white wall? Like 3. Alright.
I'm out of this ammo.
Okay, nice, nice. It's like, yeah, retro wave music. I love that. Let's go.
Come on, come on.
I'm just waiting for the cauldron to have like 3 Thunderjaws spawn on me. That was fine, but I feel like there's going to be more to this.
Looks like Hephaestus has been upgrading the cauldron security grid.
Oh, goody. More to it, isn't there?
Should be able to override more machines with this.
Oh, okay. Override a burrower, nice. Scroungers, nice.
My focus doesn't even
A
recognize
greaser.
these. Must be something I haven't seen yet.
Ah, okay.
Data.
Banghorn.
If I get the right codes, I can
Oh,
restore
corrupted
this
overrides.
information.
Wide more. I love that you're brute forcing it and not using elemental arrows. It's weak to water, so I don't have any water arrows or anything like that. So it would be pointless. I could have used acid maybe, but I mean when I'm doing the damage with normal arrows,
Off of that core. I should be able to override this machine.
I mean I did all right. It was fine enough. Oh, I know. I know it'll only get harder from here.
Should be able to
I'm
override
well aware.
scavengers now.
Let's override it. Can I kill it? I'll override it. Fuck it.
Everyone's on the same side. At least for a while.
Don't have purge water ammunition? No, I don't. Not even traps. Oh. Hi. I would have otherwise. I would have used them. Okay. That's fine. Okay, so that's one cauldron down.
Time to fight.
Oh. Uncorrupted stuff. I didn't like it anyway.
I'll save the extra stock for later.
Okay. Skill you can get where you can choose between two modes when overriding a machine. Oh yeah, offensive and defensive, isn't it? Yeah, I've seen that. Bean Master? Yeah, override subroutines. I've got 3 skill points. Okay, cool. Okay, I can. I think now. What else can I do? Hunting ground done. Rum root. kind of want to explore a little bit more. Head off. No, ether. Could go back. I could go back into like Barren Light and do the signal towers. Sort of just break it up a little bit. See what we get from them. Actually, there's some settlements I need to look for, don't I? Probably like I should probably look for settlements to. So I can find maybe more merchants and stuff. I need to find a campfire first. Hey, Ethereum. How you doing? How you doing? Well, I'm not bad. Not bad. How are you? How's things with you, buddy? Has OBS been still playing up for you? Have you not tried it yet since your last stream? Because I know you said doing Mass Effect 2. Quests. Breaking even, but that's down. On hold until Talana finds a way across. I guess I need to progress the story. During final earn all Tenax by the salvage contract. Not too bad, thanks. Had a few busy days, including keeping the kids entertained over the summer days. Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah. I know that. Well, my nephew, he's off for summer holidays. Trying to keep him entertained as best we can. I haven't tried since the last stream. Tomorrow we'll see if I've managed to fix the issues. Well, fingers crossed. My fingers are crossed for you. That they are sorted. Oh,
I think I can climb up this cliff.
you don't think, Aloy, you know. Yoink. Oh. It's always good to see you here.
Bet a diner would be interested in this.
I bet the 6 weeks can't wait for them to end. Or have they been alright?
Looks like this camp was abandoned a while ago.
been able to put it lately. Say no more.
Another signal tower. Might be a lens I can grab for Reyna at the top.
It's okay. No more words need to be said. Have you played this Horizon? I can't remember if you have or not. And I don't know if I remember if you've mentioned. Oh, it's going to be ad starting in 5 minutes. If I can get up to this top, if I can grab this lens, I will do a BRB and kind of take a break. I've not, but I've seen a lot of people play it. One of them which was Neon. Yeah, because he's played Zero Dawn. Yeah, I remember watching his playthrough of Zero Dawn was really good. A lot of fun. I'm sure he did the DLC as well. Could be wrong though. Not sure if he's played Forbidden West yet though.
This tower is barely holding together. One of the signal devices. Should be a lens. I got the lens. I can trade it with Reyna the next time I see her.
Pretty sure he has. Oh, he's played Forbidden West. Not stream? I can't remember if he was on stream or not. Fucking bad if I've forgotten. I might have not watched it because I know I was going to play it. Maybe. That might make sense. Yeah, I know. I definitely remember him doing Zero Dawn, and I'm pretty sure he did the DLC for it as well. Wasn't there we'll go down that way. A long way down.
This'll break my fall.
I hope this holds for a significant period of time. Otherwise, I am kind of fucked. You spin me right round. Splat goes in. Splat. Goes the bang. And what's in here? Oh. Just that? Cool. Okay, next tower is over the chain shape. Actually, no, we'll go for this one. think ads are about to start, so whilst that's happening, I'll be right back and take a little break and stretch and do all the necessary things I need to do. Oh, sorry, like I didn't see a message. I used to watch streams literally all day, neglecting work and other things. It was really bad. Yeah. It's definitely yeah. You gotta find a balance for sure. But yeah, I'll be right back, everybody. Give me a moment and say hopefully you'll miss all the ads, and I will be back. Joke. I wasn't even paying attention. Well, so there's a stairs somewhere. Oh, hold on. We got there, folks. We got there. Oh. I deserve that. I deserve that. I fucking deserve that. Fucking deserve that so much. Right, this is gonna be a bloody challenge.
For a defect, you show promise.
Merry Christmas, my friends. I'm honored to know you will be a mod. Lots of respect.
Have you come back to me?
I'm Lucia. Don't call me Kai.
Then why did you come here? Let me guess.
I mean, we can't stop here, can we? Yeah, thank God it's out. Oh no, why did I laugh at that? Oh no. God fucking damn it, Andrew. Why are you so immature? At this point, it's just best to continue. Yeah, that's what I thought. How did I survive? First game. Best fucking game. I can just aim for the head, I guess.
Through the boxes. Dodge the forklift and down.
I think we have to restart that. I forgot how far the forklift came out. Yeah, my bad.
Rolling.
That wasn't a clip. I don't know what this is to be a clip. Oh. Did I? Is it just me that saw that? I went through the gate.
If you're expecting anything else, then you will be sorely mistaken. I had a rough day, and then somebody went and ripped the front and back pages of my dictionary. It goes from bad to. Oh, that's good.
I know which side to go.
Well, she. God. Fucking hell! How the Jax, clip it now. Clip it, ship it. Oh my God, will she? How?
Boat to come back. Really? I'm not doing that. I'm not. No. No. Fuck this game. Ah, the joys of a fruit bazooka. The joys of a fruit bazooka. If there's anything that far that I can just nail, I can nail. It's like having a cheat code. Yeah, this is an Arabic level, and I've just died. Being too confident. Yeah, so not all men. I must add, not every man is like that. I might start selling my bathwater. I think they do it now, don't they? That's what sparkling water is, isn't it, Adam? Oh, imagine that, selling bathwater. Oh. People would buy it though. Felt the final hurdle. That was a mistake. Oh. I got caught by the log. Oh, that's funny. Bless me. Bless me. Oh. That did anyone see that? No? No? Okay. Which clip is that? That was from last night. So it's streamer.help. I don't know if you've heard of it. But it's a bot called Streamer. I'm back. I have returned. Ooh. Okay. We've got a signal tower to do. Thank you, Ethereum. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Actually, did you get a drink as well and some snack? Question from me. Fuck am I going to steal this thing?
This pigment would work well on armor.
Upper? Nice. Gosh, I'm still... I might have a little bit late. Oh. How do I do it? Took me a while to get used to aiming in this one. Enemies are quicker and weak points are smaller. Yeah, it does seem that way. Got to be much more precise with your movement and aiming.
This place has seen better days.
Your mouth is in pain? Oh. Ow? Burn it? Or ice? Or bite it? I've bitten my tongue more times than I can remember. Hot Pringles? Give you bloody hot Pringles.
I don't think I can get past them. Guess I should leave it for now.
You're a sucker for them, aren't you? I not do it because I can't do it. No, it can't be. No. Hey, I've been fuming.
Okay, signal device. Should be a lens here. Got it. Another lens.
Two more. Two. I'm used to aiming at one pixel target at mass distance from when I play Borderlands. That is true.
Great. You've earned a relic. Congratulations. You've won a gem.
Max. The 5 gifted subs. Holy shit, like that came out of nowhere. Thank you so much. Dude, you did not have to do that. Holy fuck. Thank you, gifted sub to Ceylon, Anu, KRC, Pezza, and Jerry. I recognize one of those. Definitely. Maybe 2. Thank you so much, dude. Not have to do that. So much, dude. 62 gifted subs in this channel. You're well ahead. I recognize Pezza for sure. Yeah, that was the one I recognize. That's the one I recognize pretty much straight away. Where am I going again? Road to nowhere.
You get a strong color on this.
I'm meant to go back to Chain Scrape and fast travel from the... Well, I could just ride from there. I forget I have a mount. I know that sounds crazy to say, but I forget I have a mount. I forget I have a glider, and I forget I have a mount. Standard Horizon things, you know. Amazing mind how the oh yeah, I didn't really talk to the people of Chainscrape after I kicked out Poland, did I? Oh, I'll go back in and see them. Look at the gates are wide open now. Oh. Oh, it's the foreman.
I see you all made it back.
Hammer and tongs. That they did, Huntress. They tell me you blasted through the problem. Lokuf here came back trembling like a twig. Hey!
What's important is everyone made it out.
Olvend, that's it.
No thanks to Olvend. Let's just count our lucky sparks that Petra's taken over the mine's supervision.
Guess that means no more slacking off.
Just stay safe.
Please. Oh. I do like that. You can go back to like little towns and stuff, and you can like chat to the people that you bumped into in side quests. Get the little chitter chatter going. Nice. Petropia?
Rest easy, everyone.
Oh, it's the
This is our home.
Kasha.
How have you been?
Better now, Aloy. When we laid Savalhar to rest, I prayed and prayed. I wanted guidance so badly. A way forward. A new home for our people. But no vision came.
So what did you do?
At first, I felt despair. But then it occurred to me. Maybe I saw no vision because the answer was right before my eyes. Maybe the Twilight Path led us right where we are supposed to be. Maybe our new home is here. Petra has been kind to us, given us food, found us work. Some are even helping with her forge.
I'm glad you found your place, Lakasha.
Chainscrape is no paradise, but it is enough. What about you, Aloy? Have you found your place?
I don't know. I'm not sure I have one.
Sounds like you need a beacon.
Oh.
I hope you find it. And your home.
Oh, that was nice. That was lovely. Little woman fuzzy. I can upgrade this. Yeah, when did I get a Bellaback circulator? I mean, I'll take it. Don't get me wrong. Advanced hunter arrows. So I've got 3 sets of. Oh yeah, because I can do ammo crafting now. I got to figure out how to beat the battle I ended off with in Shining Force 2. As there's no shop where I am, and the enemies I have to face hit hard and take hardly any damage, all the while giving me next to no XP, so I can't grind. Oh yeah, that does sound like a predicament. It sounds like a predicament, I can't lie. Can you go back at all, or one of those things you have to just keep pressing forward?
What will you choose?
Have I got any food? Or 1 treat left? I'm trapped in that area until I beat that battle. Oh shit, yeah, then that's a real problem, isn't it? That sucks. Then it is an older game. That makes sense. They would, do something like that. Petra.
Come for another round?
How are the refugees doing?
They keep to themselves mostly, but they have food and shelter. Some even found work around town. Good thinking, giving them that Stormbird heart.
I'm glad it helped. I hope they can get back on their feet.
I'll keep checking up on them.
Then they'll be just fine.
Oh.
I thought you'd be back in Freeheap.
Well, after the big battle at Meridian...
You're only 4 years younger than I am.
But realized it was running smooth. Didn't need me. Heard about the rebuilding out at Barren Light. Figured
I've already done these
another
options.
hammer. And thanks to your handiwork, I got my hands full getting this place into shape.
I guess you found the right place.
Guess I did.
Has Tolland been giving the refugees any trouble?
Nah. His shop got closed down not long after Ulvin
Oh,
got
good.
the food. So, he cleared out of town. Took his goons with him, too. Good riddance, I say.
Good riddance.
The concession decree Ulvin wanted, what was it exactly? And how would it have helped him?
Big old pig diddle, that's what.
A writ that would have put all Osram claims in the Daunt under Osram law, even though they're on Karja land. It would have meant that any existing ore, stone, and timber claims couldn't be revoked by the Karja. No more risk, no more hesitation for investors back in the claim to pour in the shards and expand their business. And since Ulvin had a stake in all those claims, it would have made him richer than a scrapper in a junk heap. Not to mention Chainscrape would have become an Osram municipality, so he could have bought enough votes to call himself an elderman. He's a sly old badger, I'll give him that. Almost got away with it, too.
Came out in 1994. Wow. Yeah, it's older than me.
Well, I have to be going. Thanks for the drink, Petra. I'm glad I stopped by.
Anytime, Flamehair.
Right. I'm glad I went back now. Let's grab some food, shall we?
Oh, this'll really boil their broth. I'll add a sprinkle of chili to their desserts. Help reverse.
Oh. Hi. I can have 3 now. Okay, Milda's tree. Boosts melee damage by 2 levels for 3 minutes. Yeah, we'll have Milda's. 3 of them now. If it's 1984, it's 30. It's its 30th anniversary then. Start Shining Force 2. That's a good time to play it. You know what I mean? Yeah, this 30th anniversary. Pretty neat. I gotta climb up there, haven't I? Oh, doody doody, what is the point?
I think I can climb up this cliff. I wonder if there's anything interesting at the top.
Probably a tower? Just a hunch, you know? Just a... Yeah, I got, see, now I said Sega, I've got fucking Sonic the Hedgehog in my head now.
Careful not to let this stain my hands. search a signal tower. Might have another lens for Reyna.
Good old Green Hill Zone thing. I think what's my favorite out of Sonic 1 actually. Like if I couldn't pick Green Hill Zone, what would be my favorite? I think I'd want to say Spring Yard. Marble Zone's good though. Marble Zone is good. Scrap Brain. I think for me it would be either. Yeah, I think for me it would be either Marble Garden, not Marble Garden, Marble Hill Zone. Marble Garden Zone. That's Sonic 3, isn't it? Marble Garden. Or is that Sonic 2? I can't remember. But the Marble. The second area in Sonic 1. Either that or Scrap Brain.
Okay.
I just said it. What the fuck? Spring Yard. Wish me luck, Welsh. I had to try and mod Cyberpunk. Oh, good luck. Good luck. Hope it goes well on the Steam Deck. And Sonic 2? Ooh. If you couldn't pick... well, I mean, the obvious one is Chemical Plant. You couldn't pick Chemical Plant? Ooh. I mean, that's a tough one. You got Emerald Hill.
Made it. And there's the signal device.
I'm trying to think what the zones... Isn't it Labyrinth Zone? Isn't that one? Or is it Mystic Cave? Yeah, because Sonic 2 is... Yes, Emerald Hill. Casinoopolis, I think, is Sonic 2. Or is that... No, not Casinoopolis, Casino Night.
Another lens.
Sky Battery had a pretty epic theme. Yeah, that was... Actually, was that 2 or was that... Sky Battery? Here we go, this is it, chat. This is what I've been waiting for the time for. The time is now. What, debating Sonic music? Yeah, probably. That's about right. Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, if I had to go through each one, I forget a lot of the stage names in 2. Chat, make sure to use code ENTER for tonight's raffle. You'll win a limited edition t-shirt. From who? Not me. I don't have merch. Enter. Are you in the correct chat, Andromeda? I don't have a merch store. Just an FYI. The last signal tower is here. Fast travel to... Alright, I mean... I think... Well, obviously I'd love to do merch and stuff, like have a t-shirt and stuff like that. I don't know. Probably not... Right, probably not at the right growth. Yeah. That may be the name of my Mass Effect character. What now? Oh, Andromeda? I mean, it's a reference to another Mass Effect game there. In all fairness. If that is high. Got a Nexus Mods account. Yeah, it's crazy. I think I've only signed up to it because of the seamless co-op mod for Elden Ring. I had to sign up and to download it, so it's fun. Which reminds me, I probably need to download another version of it because
Looks like the path up broke a long time ago.
because
I'm gonna have to climb.
there was an update on Steam for Elden Rings. I might have to tell Ben when I see him. You forgot that? Forgot what? Oh, do you mean... Wait. You mean Joe's limited edition stuff? Not tomorrow. I'm so confused.
I'll save this for a dyer.
Yep, it was a bad game, so we're playing as the bad girl, so it works. I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, I can't really say that, though, because I haven't really played Andromeda, but something tells me I don't really want to play Andromeda. But, you know, it's the only Mass Effect game I have not played, so take it off the list, I suppose.
There we go.
It's an experience, that's for sure. It's not the one with Natalie Dormer in it. Andromeda. Remember they made a whole thing about her being in the game? I believe so. Well, there was like a trailer where they were like, it's Natalie Dormer from Game of Thrones. It's like, okay, cool. I mean, to be fair, she is hot. Like, can't deny that.
Here we are. Looks like the signal device is still intact. Okay. I think that's the last lens. I should trade with Reyna the next time
Oh, that is correct. Off the Barren Light we go then. Need to find. I wonder what I get for giving her all the stuff. I'm just gonna fast travel. Fuck it. Too bad the game is literally caught in the headlights simulator. Oof. Oof. You enjoyed Mass Effect Andromeda, but other people's enjoyment might vary. I mean, that's fair. Everybody's different. Everybody's different.
Is that what I think it is?
Now you've got all your lenses.
My pops would be sad they're tearing down those towers. But he'd be happy these lenses were spared. Many thanks to you, Aloy. Oh, here. What I owe you. Now this has truly been a endeavor for the both of us.
You know, it's at least some people enjoyed the game. Wasn't a complete.
These back to the claim. Ankles all better, and I miss the stench of soot in the air.
Let's hope you don't find any more opportunities on your way there.
No promises. Good luck, Aloy.
Oh, I got a die unlocked. Ooh. Oh yeah. Oh, that was kind of worth it. And I got some shards. Oh, what time is it now? It is 20 to 10. I think we're gonna leave the main story for now until Monday. I'm probably just gonna explore for the next half hour, whatever. I can't get there from. I need to go around, don't I? I might see if I can find any more settlements. Say hi to them, you know? I might do that. You never know, they might have hunter's goods and stuff. I mean, I know there's one there. I'm not sure what's in there or how I get there. Actually, one game I want. Speaking of BioWare, that's one game I want to. That's one series I want to start playing soon. At some point is Dragon Age. I have such a affinity with Dragon Age, especially 1 and 2. I played a shit ton of Dragon Age 1, and I mean a shit ton. I'm very confused, Andromeda, what you're doing. There's no giveaways here. I don't. Unless I'm. And I'm gonna win the raffle tonight. Hey, good luck to you. Good luck to you. Hope you get it. I'm rooting for you, you know? You told me if I followed you, I would be entered for a chance to win the raffle. Did I say that? I don't think I did. Has Joe been feeding you lies again? Yeah, it would be, if it's an American keyboard, it's Shift 2, but if it's UK, it's Shift not comma, it's it's like the opposite, it's the flipped comma. I can't think of the symbol. I can't think of what it's called. Like you have don't, so it's DON. Apostrophe. I think it's, yeah, apostrophe. Well, it should say on the keyboard. You have a little symbol on the keyboard somewhere with an @ sign. I've only played a little bit of Origins on Steam. It's on the back burner because of all the other games I have that I've made currently. Yeah, Origins is probably the best one, for sure. 2 is okay. 2 is not bad. But the story's a bit, like, especially the ending is a bit wishy-washy. But Origins is very, very good. I played it so much because for those who are unaware, I've got it. I haven't used the keyboard in a long while. It's all good, Jax. It's all good. So for those who don't know, I believe so. Dragon Age Origins has origin stories that you can play through, and I think there's, well, I want to say like 10, 12, something like that. Maybe around that mark. So you've got human, elf, and dwarf. I think they're the 3. But you've got like human royal, human like slums, elf royalty, elf slums, dwarven royalty, dwarven slums, and there's like multiple pathways you can start your story. But they all lead to the same conclusion basically. But it's pretty cool. That's why I made so many playthroughs, because I wanted to see all the different origin stories, of the different races. But it was really cool. Next stop. The next settlement. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I did not promise a raffle upon your follow, Andrew. You're more than welcome to rescind the follow if you want to. If you feel like you've been wrongly misled. maybe there's an exit command, maybe? No. There's a settlement there. But yeah, sorry to burst your dream. I really am. Unknown. Oh, there's an unknown rebel outpost there. Oh, okay. I might do that. I like the music from Elder Scrolls. Just like that. Just that one song. Is it Skyrim? Is it like the main menu music from Skyrim? Actually, no. Well, if you haven't played it, you probably might not. Yeah, this is definitely Elder Scrolls. That's how you die in Sonic if you drown. Very terrifying. Anywho. The nearest one's there. Yeah. But yeah, I love Skyrim. There's a few really good songs from Skyrim. Far Horizons, which is like the very atmospheric song in the game. Very lovely atmospheric Nordic music. And it's lovely. I will say, I know people bang on like a meme on about like, oh my god, Skyrim's been released for the 60 millionth time, but like, it's a good game. Very good game. One of my favorite games of all time. Just is. Same as Crash, same as like Spyro, same as Luigi's Mansion. You got Super Smash Bros. Brawl. You know, I will probably go on a limb. I will say, Smash Bros. Brawl is probably my favorite fighting game. I know I love Tekken 2 and Soul Calibur 2, mainly for the music, but no fighting game hooked me more than Smash Brawl on the Wii. I was devastated when the disc was fucked and I couldn't play it anymore. Devastated. Riverwatch. No? No? Paranoia from our past right there. Yep. Oh, imagine, I mean, playing Chemical Plant stage from Sonic 2 and you hear that music? No thank you. I actually preferred Melee on the GameCube. I did play a little bit of Melee, but I didn't play much of it. Because I think because when I got Melee, Brawl had come out, so I was playing Brawl more than Melee. Because it was the newest Smash title at the time. I loved it. Subspace Emissary or Emissary, one of the best story modes ever. Just so good. Oh, good.
What's in here?
Fucking loved it. But Melee. I think if you've played Melee and did a lot of Melee. Melee is iconic for sure. Like I'm not disputing that. I probably was a little bit late to the Melee party. For Smash. I did have it though.
It looks like this was a
You were late indeed.
Might have been
I'm never on
abandoned
time,
enough
so.
to push the Karja army back to Baron Knight. Nothing worth looking around.
Imagine being on time. Couldn't be me.
Going through a metal flower. Doesn't look like it's blocking the way up, though.
That's okay. I'm reading up the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I'm only about 15 years behind on that one, so no worries. Oh, I love that. I love that for you, Andromeda. Let's fucking go. Can I borrow that book as well once you're done? I'd appreciate that.
A lot of rotting wood here.
I'd rather be late than my girlfriend be late, if you catch my drift. Think I do, but I don't at the same time. Wait, can I... Ah, nice. Environmental damage. What do I need this for? Oh, is that for the... Ah, yeah, I thought it was something along those lines. I thought it was something along those lines. I wasn't too sure. It didn't fully click in my brain. No, you can't borrow it. It's from a public library. I'll have to look around. I'll have to look around the public libraries near me, if they got them in stock. I'm sure they'll understand. Been there and through it. Yeah. Yeah, if anyone's been through that experience, it's probably been, yeah, it's probably you, yeah. There's fire gleam there, but... There's a village down here, apparently? Or was? Ooh.
Looks like someone's been digging up the ruins in this area.
It's a deep delve. Oh no. I'll hold off for now. I still think I may need some extra help. Oh, with the modding? I can try and give you a hand if need be. Not quite 100% sure with like Steam Decks and stuff. I can give you a hand as best as I can. But I'm quite inexperienced in the modding world as well, to be honest. I just pick ones that like Ben tells me to pick and be like, yeah, that's fine, you know. Pick that, it's not gonna go wrong. I'm like, okay, cool. Oh, there's 2 wide ones.
Last one.
Critical strike. Hippo, innit? Angry hippo. Good shot. Okay.
I should take a look at the ruins under the water. See if I can find any clues.
I don't think that's a good idea, Aloy, because you can't really swim. Much as I'd love to.
Maybe I said enough.
I need a deep delve. Okay, so it's a settlement of sorts. So there is a ruins below. Oh, Karja Camp is a quest. Not available yet. I'm going to make it available. That looks like hell on earth, so I'm not gonna... Oh, I see a Thunderjaw in the distance. Casually. One does. I'm gonna swim this bit. Watch it count. Hello.
You told me they were the best delving crew in the claim.
You told me we'd be drowning in artifacts.
Well, I found this, didn't I?
It's a tray.
By the sun, man!
A
Not even the most
tray.
accomplished crafters of Meridian could pull off such symmetry. I wonder what the old ones served on it. Appetizers?
Like a hard drive.
Seafood.
It's a tray!
Hi.
Who are you?
Rushavid? You wouldn't recognize the sound if it hit you in the face. This is the savior of Meridian, the one who sees the unseen. You've come for them, haven't you?
Them?
The relics! The lake is full of them. Something big happened here in ancient times.
You mind if
It's
I
an old
take a look?
graphic. Yeah. Yeah, it's in the Nvidia Titan 1050. GTX 1050. Actually quite rare these days.
That's a lot of data.
Old hard drive. It's literally a whole hard drive.
Should we be sending for a healer?
Whatever this is, it all points to something called a mobile cover system.
Oh, you mean a cover for the tray?
No. More
No.
like something that could come handy in a fight. Where did you find this?
The dig site.
Which is now crawling with machines. And unless they magically disappear, we are leaving.
Don't you want to find out what actually happened here?
Maybe we still can.
Oh.
What drew you to this place in particular?
Every good expedition starts with a rumor. When the Tenakth chased our forces out of the west, returning soldiers described this lake, rife with signs of the ancients. I knew as soon as I heard the tales that its waters promised a bounty of artifacts.
A promise that hasn't been kept, at least so far.
Those who are patient will be rewarded with sunlight when clouds pass.
Right.
There's plenty of ruins in the east. Why come all the way out here to look for artifacts?
Ah, well, while my colleagues scour the same old ruins, I intend to blaze a new trail. Loquacious Gendas, the first scholar to discover the secrets of the West. Why, I'll be as famous as the great scribe Aram.
You don't seem to share his optimism.
I sell artifacts to nobles. Ideally, trinkets that are a little more glamorous than seafood trays.
You can be so boorish.
Somebody's got to pay for expeditions like these, and so far we haven't found anything that'll cover my costs.
Thanks.
So you got attacked by machines at your dig site?
It was horrifying. When we arrived, the sight seemed as calm as a gentle breeze. I saw a glint in the water and waded in. It was the tray. I was so enamored with it, I didn't even see the machines closing in. I barely escaped with my life.
I was there. You actually had a pretty good head start on them.
Easy for you to say, gawking from a safe distance. In any event, I had hoped the Oseram would deal with them. They're supposed to be the best delving crew in the claim.
Instead, all they do is moan about hazard pay. Ha! Not a chance unless we can find some booty to cover my investment.
Maybe we all can get one.
I already took care of the machines at the dig site.
That's amazing. We'll resume our dig.
Oh, it's literally where we just were. That's hilarious.
Though, knowing this crew, it'll take forever for us to move.
Let's see those good-for-nothing charcoal burners try to charge me hazard pay now.
I'll come back as soon as I find out more about this mobile cover system. Maybe I can figure out what actually happened here.
I knew it was no coincidence our paths crossed, Savior. Imagine what stories you'll bring us once you search the lake with your second sight.
Knowingly clearing the objective. I know, imagine.
The
Imagine
sun
doing
has
that.
truly shined upon us this day.
Likewise, drowned hopes. There of. Oh, that's why she said, "Oh, let's have a look at the sunken ruins." Can I do that now? I'll just. There's a campfire, isn't there? I was about to use a flash travel back there. Hey, at least I cleared out the wide moors. Made my life a little bit easier, at least. It makes sense why she said, "Oh, let's have a look underwater in the ruins," and it's like that. But then, I'm gonna need a rebreather, aren't I? No way. There's no way I'm gonna get. My TV has NVIDIA GeForce Now. But that doesn't surprise me, actually.
There's something underwater. An active console. There's something jammed in it.
Fuck, that's a far way down. Yep, no. You.
Something jammed that console underwater.
You.
I can't hold my breath long.
Yeah, I say there's no way. There's no way you're fucking getting that out of there. Okay, so we can't do that. So that's fine. There's any other ruin settlements? So let's go over here then. This is where we finished up last stream with the ruin. Mount. Oh, more ads. Okay. I will let... fine. Just riding. Traveling. So that's... Ooh. Fire bristlebacks. Darkth.
Better use something other than fire.
Well, let's just sit here and wait, let the fireworks happen. Hopefully they'll just knock each other's sensors for a little bit, and then I can just pick them all off at the end. And it's the finish. You can install your TV. Isn't that like NVIDIA GeForce Now? Isn't that like an app, isn't it? Like a streaming service? I've not really looked into it properly, to be honest. Yeah, cloud gaming. Nice. That's finished. I only had 30 seconds to them. Ah, okay. Okay, so it's all finished now. I know it's weird sometimes. Some people have 3 minutes, and then some people have like a minute's worth, and it's like, okay. I'm not complaining, but like, has to have some consistency.
Should use shock ammo.
Did you use shock ammo though? Oh, fire. That's it. Let him cook. Let him cook. I'm just gonna let them take each other out, to be honest. It's just the same way consistency that you speak of. I know, right? Imagine being consistent. Andromeda's consistently entering, though. I'll give him that. Give you that much.
Well, I guess I was going to be seen.
Watching through the Steam Deck. How's the quality? Is it any good? It won't make much difference. Oh, things are on fire. Fire! Oh. Ooh. I definitely expected that. Now my horse is gonna die. Good, it's the desktop mode though. Yeah, I mean, as long as it's good. Quality's good. I'll go wrong.
I'll put your head on.
What are you gonna put my head on? What's that? What's that? What's that? I don't think so.
I'll pick these up. Rebels. I need to get
15. Okay, yeah, we'll finish off with this then.
retreat.
Finish off with the rebel camp. Oh, they're level 20. Wow. They're motherfuckers.
Of course, Rain.
Whoa, hold it. He's gotta do it on his own.
Come on, kid. Concentrate. Use your head. Thank you, Jack, for the words of encouragement. I greatly appreciate it. Oh, that was in the neck. Oh. That would do 600 damage, give or take. That is a very high, powerful arrow straight through the neck.
Stop! He's already
dead. I know, right? Wow, really? They didn't kill it? Didn't kill him. No fucking way. No shot. I went through his neck. You're telling me, like, nah. He's gonna walk away from that.
They're still suspicious.
Well, I'll take the helmet off.
I will send you to Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm doing to these Tenaks right now. Oh! Outrageous headshot. Oh, that was even better. I'm talking about. Ooh. I mean, stranger things have happened in real life. I mean, true. True. Ooh. You are not wrong. Anyone else I need to be aware of? You're the leader. Nice. that grapple point? I am not there. Talking about there. Did it not pick up him? Oh, that. This is different. You gonna see your buddy dead? Nope, shut up. Nah. I'm just perched on this thing. Okay. Oh, was I meant to like do a little like that? I mean, that worked. And I want to take out everybody else before I take out the leader. Then, well, I'm going to take out the leader and the rider probably at the same time. So I can just like get.
Shot could do a lot of damage.
You don't tend to watch on desktop? Yeah, watching on desktop compared to like the app is, it's like a game changer. I will admit. Because I used to watch on mobile all the time. When I first started watching Twitch, like during COVID and stuff, I watched predominantly on mobile because like whenever Cat was on or Chugs was on, I just watched it on my phone. And everybody watched it on desktop, but then as soon as I did,
I'm fine. We're fine.
that sounds like me. Like when it sounds like me just every day. Like I'm fine. We're fine.
Got you now. There she is.
Have you though? Have you though? Oh, please stop. Please stop. Twitch mobile app is awful though. I haven't tried it since it got updated. Oh yeah, the new update for the Twitch app, the mobile app is awful. It's so bad. It's so bad. I can't even sort by viewers anymore. You can't sort by viewers anymore. Normally that's how it's sorted by, but now it's just gives you in random order, and I'm like, okay, cool. Thanks. Like, appreciate that. I don't want to know who's on. You know, normally because I try and scroll. Like, it would have been nice if it gives you the option to like sort by people you're subscribed to. The thought to it. Like, imagine that, having all the people you're subbed to at the top. You know? Like, that would be awesome. I can be like, okay, who am I sub, you know, or like any gift subs. Like, people have subbed to boom, boom, boom at the top, and I'm like, okay, I can click on their streams and off I go. I mean, I've got to faff about, like. Level 20, let's go.
Judging by that armor, I think I know who's on.
I'm not saying a word. I'm not saying a word. I'm not saying a word.
Stay put now.
I'm sorry, did you just magically fucking teleport? Yep.
Pain subsiding.
He'd left to go.
Come and fight.
Rather not, to be honest. Weak against us.
There's no attack. Can you see her?
What a day. What a day. What a day. Love to see it. They set up a main stream again? Oh, really? You're that impressed with it?
These look like identification tags.
Okay.
I've seen Snock soldiers carry them.
I can get behind that.
Never this many.
Yeah, but that would be too easy. Can't have everything's too easy. No, exactly. And then as soon as you say that, I fall and like nearly die. Just poetic justice, isn't it? Armor, poetic justice, whatever you want to call it. I put my foot in my mouth. Big time.
This'll keep.
Dear. Poetic karma, if you will. Yeah, a bit of both, you know. The Steam Deck has a mouse pad. That is nice. That is nice. Right, so let's unlock some things. I'm gonna unlock the overshield. I think that might help me out. Trapper? Craft tools, traps, and potions faster. Food duration, okay. Okay, well, we know what this means. We're gonna fast travel back to Barren Light. Gonna call it there. I do prefer touch style interface. That's gonna be the end of stream. We finish as. I'm just gonna do this from now on until we beat the game. Hey, we got up 3 levels. We got up 2 levels though today. That's not bad. Considering we haven't done any main missions, we just did side stuff. That'd be really good. So we done all the towers. And some more stuff. We did the River Hymn. We did the Rebel Outpost here. We technically got another entrance into the next area of the game. So I think what we'll do next stream, we'll probably go into this area and start the first things we're gonna do is do the tall necks. We'll probably go down here, break even, caravan leader, do the tall neck, then we'll do that tall neck. Then we've got more. We got more map to play with. We just end the base. I could, but I'm making it tradition. Making it tradition now. We just finish at Barren Light, you know. Got to start and finish at Barren Light. I don't know why. Just. Anyways, but yeah, no, I will do the tall necks on stream. That's what I mean. Like next stream, we'll go into that area. We'll do the tall necks and stuff, and then kind of work our way through, you know. But yeah, that's going to be it for me. I'm going to send you on. Ben is playing Angerfoot. Looks, not gonna lie, looks kind of wild. Looks kind of wild. Oh, you know what? Rated it Ben enough times. Hmm. Oh, let's rate someone on their birthday. Their birthday today, so let's rate someone. I recommend doing the tour next when you go to those areas when you're doing the story. Okay. But could I do them like the next stream though? That's what I might do. Like, because one's right next to a side quest, so I might just do it there. Yeah, we're gonna go raid Lauren. She's a good friend of, very good friend of Georgia and Holly. And it's her birthday today. She's a fellow UK streamer as well. We are gonna go. Hi, say happy birthday. All that nice stuff. And I will catch you all next time. Hopefully. Maybe. Yeah, until then, stay safe everybody. Take care. And I will see you. I will start the raid. In about now. Hold on. Oh. I know how to type. But yeah, appreciate everyone coming in with the raid. Appreciate everyone coming popping in for stream. Thank you again, Jimmy for the raid, Joe for the prime sub, Chosen for the resub and gifted sub to Jimmy. Thank you, Jax, for the 5 gifted subs. Yeah, crazy hooligans, a lot of you. But yeah, take care, everybody. I will see you next time. Potentially tomorrow will be Elden Ring, but I'll keep you all posted. But until then, stay safe. I will see you next time. Bye bye for now. Thank you, everybody.